Welcome to Local Flavor. I'm Deborah Anderson, and I'm here again with Anna Schremmer from the Phillips and Rooks Extension District. And we're working again with canning, only this time we're going to use a water bath method, and we're going to make, what, two things?
We're going to make what's called chili salsa, and we're going to can peaches.
Yum.
It's close to peach canning time, so.
We have been chopping a lot of vegetables, and this salsa looks delicious. Let's start with that.
Okay, what we have in our pot already is 2 pounds of chili peppers, which is 6 cups, all chopped up, ready to go, deveined and de-seeded. The hotter it will be, the more veins you have in there and the more seeds. So if you like it mild, take everything out. If you like it hot, just leave a little bit in. I think we left a few.
I took most of them out.
Took most out?
Yeah, but some stuck to the cutting board.
And you'll just give it a little bit hotter flavor. And then we have 1 pound of onions, which is 4 cups chopped onions. And now we're going to put in 5 pounds of tomatoes, which is 10 cups. And that's been chopped. Now you can coarsely chop or you can finely chop depending on how you like your salsa. I kind of like mine where you get a little bit of meat of the tomatoes and also of the peppers. So then you stir that up, and we're going to add 1 cup vinegar.
Now with our peppers, we put in 3 different kinds of peppers though, right?
Oh, correct. You can add any kinds of peppers that you want. We had 2 green peppers, I believe, and 2 red peppers. And then we had...
Were those added in addition to this?
No, this is all within the 6 cups of peppers.
All right.
So you can use jalapenos, you can use chili peppers, you can use the really hot ones, any kind, but it has to add up to 6 cups.
Okay, what next?
Okay, we need to add the 1 cup of vinegar. And one of the things you really want to make sure is that you use a tested recipe if you're going to can it. If you're going to make up your own recipe, either freeze it or eat it right away. Don't can it because it hasn't been tested. You have to have a certain amount of acidity to the certain amount of vegetables for salsa. And that's what gets a lot of people in trouble. I get lots of calls that says, well, we made our own, but it tastes funny. Why? And I said, because you made your own. It's not a tested recipe. Your proportions are not right with the acid to the amount of vegetables.
And is it dangerous?
It's very dangerous. You can be very sick. Okay, then we add 3 teaspoons of salt.
I'm just going to use a tablespoon. Same.
Same thing. And after we get that all sprinkled in, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And one of the things, everybody is pleasantly surprised at how good this salsa is. I have taught this salsa class and used this recipe for 3 or 4 years now, and everybody loves this recipe. Okay,
it's pretty simple.
It really is. It just takes a little bit of chopping, and we chop by hand. You can use a chopper. You can use a blender. Kind of depends on how fine you want it. So now we're ready to put it on the stove top and go ahead and cook it for 10 minutes. Bring it to a boil and we'll cook it for 10 minutes. Then we're ready to put it in a jar.
Is this for sterilization or just to get it softened up?
To get it softened up, to get the cooking process started. The sterilization process comes in the canning when we hot water bath it or boiling water bath it.
Well, let's take a short break and put this on the stove, and we're also going to do peaches, so we'll come right back and start the peaches.
You should never run out of the important stuff.
Really?
If your current wireless plan leaves you at the end of your rope, imagine how you'll feel with Nex-Tech Wireless with unlimited everything. Nex-Tech Wireless gives you the freedom to go as far as you want. Nex-Tech Wireless, something different.
Nex-Tech Local 1 brings you What's Happening Now, a show dedicated to events going on in our area. If you have an event and would like to be a part of What's Happening Now, contact Jenny Leiker at 785-625-7070.
Welcome back to Local Flavor. We have got our salsa on the stove. It's going to need to cook for 10 minutes. So while that's cooking, we're going to start canning our peaches. And we're going to do two methods, right?
Two methods. We're going to do a hot pack and we're going to do a cold pack. Now, if you do a cold pack, you need to make a mixture of citric acid with the water so that your peaches will not turn dark. And you can read on the label how much to use. It's basically a quarter of a teaspoon to about half a gallon of water. And so we have done that for our cold pack. We've also blanched the peaches, and we're going to show you one peach that needs to be peeled.
Will you do it?
Right, yes. So to blanch this peach, I brought water to boil, put the peach in, and let it stay in the water 30 seconds to a minute. And you can usually tell if it's ready to peel. And you can do this with tomatoes too. You'll see cracks. My peaches are a little green, not bad, so the skin actually didn't crack. But normally they will do that. And then it just makes it really, really easy to peel. The skin just comes right off with getting a hold of it and pulling it.
Now, did you blanch the hot ones too?
Yes. It makes it much easier to peel if you don't blanch them. I mean, if you blanch them, it makes it much easier to peel. So that's why these were done too.
Well, let me just ask you something. You do this.
Okay.
If you don't mind the peel, could you skip the blanching?
You can. Peaches, most people do not like the peel of peaches because it's kind of fuzzy, it's tasteless, but it does have some nutrients in it.
But isn't there more advantage to blanching other than just peeling?
Right, it does kill the enzymes, which stops the spoiling process. So it's important to go ahead and blanch your peaches, your tomatoes, and any recipe that tells about that it needs to have the blanch. So don't skip that process.
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready now for the jars. And the jars I have been sterilizing back here in the hot water. All I did was I washed them in hot soapy water and then sat them in boiling water, turned it down. So we have our jars ready to go. Now you could also put a knife in the jar and pour boiling water in it. You want to put the knife in it because that takes the heat so they won't break.
Now, one time when you taught me how to can before, you said if we're putting in something cold, they can both be hot. It's just that they have to be hot if it's hot.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Are you going to do the fresh and I'll do the hot, cold pack, and I'll do the hot pack?
I don't know what to do though.
Okay. Mine's hot, so I'm going to use a spoon. Now we're doing half peaches, and so when you do that, you want to put the cut side down and you want to layer them in your jar. And you'll do the same thing with the cold pack, but you can do it with your hands.
Now, that one, did you put the citric acid in it too, or something different?
No, I didn't use citric acid because they're already, the sugar syrup is what I cooked it in. I used a light sugar syrup, and that was 5 3/4 cups water with 1 1/2 cups sugar, and we brought it to a boil. And then as soon as I brought it to a boil, I put my peaches in.
What about Headspace on this, or the room at the top?
Okay, the Headspace should be 1/2 inch, and since your peach is peeking out there, you can try to push him in a little further and down. That will be fine. But if not, you may have to take him out and then add maybe a smaller peach or a part of a peach. And mine's kind of sticking up there too. I'm trying to adjust it. But
I think it has enough.
okay, so now we're going to use the sugar syrup that these peaches cooked in to put on your peaches. You can, if you're diabetic, you can just add water to this. If you are needing to watch your weight, you can do extra light syrup, which is less sugar in it. You can go all the way up to heavy syrup, but that...
How'd you make the syrup? It's just water and sugar?
Water, sugar, boiled.
Okay.
Now, if you noticed, I put knives in there. So again, the heat of the syrup can go up the knife rather than the jar, and the jar is less likely to break. So now another purpose with these knives is to go around this outside, and you see air bubbles coming up. That's where you put those half peaches in. Air got underneath them, and so you would need to get that out. My one peach is still floating, so I'm going to cut
I got it.
that.
Okay.
And take part of that peach out. And
want me
this
to
has
do
to be
that?
½ an inch from the top, and I think you're probably going to need to do that too. And here is a handy little tool. This gauges the head space, and you need to have ½ an inch. So you can use that, and if the syrup touches, then you know, and your peach isn't touching, then you know you're okay. So I need to add a little bit more syrup to mine. Since it's a small amount, I don't
So you don't
need to
want
put
any air in there.
Right.
Now, what if we're doing some cold pack, some hot pack. If I didn't have your sugar water to steal, I'd have to make it separate.
Right.
Because you still want to put it in.
Right. Okay. So that is
And I
half.
don't have to put any of this
Inch.
citric water in.
No.
Okay.
The citric water is just to keep it from turning brown.
Oh, while we're waiting. Okay.
You can also use with this handy little Headspace is to go ahead and take air bubbles out with too. Now, because we use sugar syrup, it might be sticky on top. Take a paper towel, and I usually dip it in water and then go around the outside edge, because your rubber on your flat may not seal if you don't wipe it. And then I'm using another handy little tool that has a magnet on the bottom to get our flats out. Now, the flats have been soaking in boiling water that was boiling at one point, so it's sterile. And then you don't want to boil your flats, otherwise the rubber gets too soft. Now, one of the things, some people say, well, what's the difference between your peaches that is hot packed and peaches that are cold packed? The cold packed peaches have a tendency to float, where the hot pack doesn't. The reason is they still hold air.
Too. Don't you think yours look cleaner?
And yes, they do. I'm not sure quite why, but they do. So then you just fingertip till it's tight, but don't get it too tight. And then they're ready to go into the boiling water bath.
Well, let's take a break and check on our salsa, and we're going to put them in the boiling water bath together, right?
Correct, because they process for the same amount of time.
Okay, well, let's take a break and check on our salsa. We'll be right back to start the canning.
New technology comes out every week, and it can be hard to keep up with new features and buttons each new phone, computer, and tablet have. You could soon be the tech-savvy person in your family if you watch Nex-Tech University. Available on Nex-Tech Channel 1 and Nex-Tech VOD, Nex-Tech University will give you the tips and tricks to master your latest device and make you the person friends will run to with questions. Watch Nex-Tech University on Nex-Tech Channel 1 and video on demand. You're in the right place, the see it before you buy place, the professional staff place, the have it delivered place. Frigid Air Gallery and Genuine Appliance has real stainless steel with fewer fingerprints and smudges. Ranges with true convection speed bake. Quietest in its class dishwashers. Refrigerators with the freezer on the top, the bottom, or side by side. Frigid Air Gallery and Genuine Appliance at 1224 East 27th and Hayes. The best price place. You're in the right place.
Did you know?
It's not just water, it's better water.
Better Water Smith Center completes all your hydration needs. They sell Lundy spring systems, including water softeners, reverse osmosis, water coolers, and bottled water. They won't just install your system, they will service and repair it too. Better Water can repair Echo water systems and all other major brands. They offer softener salt sales and delivery for your convenience. Serving all of Northwest Kansas.
It's not just water, it's better water.
Welcome back to Local Flavor. Our salsa has boiled for 10 minutes, so we're ready to put it into the canning jars.
Yes.
You lead us the way.
Okay. Notice that we have the sterilized jars with the knives in it. The knives are used
Still
to...
hot.
Yes, still hot, and we're going to put hot salsa in there. Oh, thank you for doing that. This is a funnel, a canning funnel. It's big, and that's why it can fit in your jar easily.
Oh, you're gonna let it, okay, good.
And then the knife is there to have the heat go up the knife rather than in the jar.
Oh, that looks like it has carrots in it. What is that? That must be our bell peppers. The red bell peppers lightened up a little bit.
Red bell peppers. Now we want half a inch headspace, so we'll take that out and put it in the other one, and we'll...
Oh, excuse me.
Now you can, some people like to strain their salsa so it's not quite so juicy, but others really enjoy the juice, so it's kind of up to you on how juicy you want your salsa.
Do I put it on this one or this one?
The half inch, well, it does say on there. Let's see if my contacts are working.
I know, but I
Okay,
didn't
this
know.
is the half inch right
Okay,
here.
so that's where I want to rest it. No, this way. So I need a little teeny bit more, I think.
Okay.
What do you think? Just a teens?
Yes, you do need more. So check this one. It might be that I'll take some out of that one and put in the other one. Okay. And that looks just about right.
Now they're even at least.
Okay. And I think we're just going to do just a tad more here and a tad more over there.
It looks pretty good. Let me smell it. It's pretty good.
This batch makes about 7 pints, but right now we're only going to do the 2 pints. And we'll set this in here. Again, you need to wipe the lids, rims, and then you'll be ready to use a clean paper towel, and then you'll be ready to put the flat on. These flats have been soaking in the hot water that boiled, and then we put the flats in there. You don't want to boil your flats because the rubber will get too soft, and then it won't seal like it should. I don't know why this last one doesn't like coming out.
Now, we are not using a pressure cooker. We're using the water bath.
Yeah, the boiling water bath.
And what's the difference?
Some people call it hot water bath, but it has to boil. Boiling water bath is for all high acid foods, such as your fruits like peaches, your tomatoes. Tomatoes kind of has a special thing which we'll talk about here in just a bit. Your pears, your cherries, any type of fruit. And then salsa, your tomatoes, pickles, jams, jellies, okay, pie filling, any of those are considered high acid. It means that the doesn't take a highest temperature to kill the bacteria as what low acid foods do. And low acid foods are like the meats that we canned in another episode, and then vegetables that we have. Okay, Deb has put those in.
Now,
and
could you pressure cook these too?
you could. Let's set these back down in the water.
Okay, and that's boiling
And
water there, right?
That's boiling water, and we have a lid somewhere
Oh, for
to
the
put on
pan?
the top of it, which we need to put on the top.
Is it a glass lid?
It's
I
a
think
glass lid.
I see it.
Okay, yes. You can pressure can salsa. You have to do it with the longest time of the vegetable that you have in there. So if peppers is longer than the tomatoes or the onions is longer, you would have to process it for that amount of time, which sometimes then makes your product overcooked. And so you can pressure can it, but it has to be done for the longest time for whatever vegetable it was that you put in there.
Then, but would you not have to worry about the acid content? Could you be a little bit more crazy with your recipe, or?
You could, but it is still recommended that you follow the recipe and follow the recommendations for processing it, because it still goes with how long the temperature of the canner plus the length of time is what it takes to kill the bacteria. And also it kind of depends on how dense your food is. The meat episode, we had to process that for 75 minutes because meat's very dense. Certain vegetables are denser than other vegetables. So it's really hard to know what to do, and if you have your own recipe, it's still best just to freeze it or to eat it right away. And I don't know, salsa does not stick around in our house very long.
So you wouldn't have to get it.
So
now you're getting all these guidelines though. Why don't you show us the book
Correct.
that it's coming from?
This is coming from the Complete Guide to Home Canning, and you can purchase this book at the Extension office here in Phillipsburg. If you want, also Rooks County has it. Most Extension offices have this, or they can get this. This is $20. You can go online and purchase it too. It is more expensive. We do get it for the right amount of just what it costs to make the book.
But all the guidelines you've been giving us are pretty, it's not just one rule. There's so, like when you said for the vegetable that takes the longest time, I mean, how do you know it's all in this, right?
It's all in this book. You can also get So Easy to Can, and that's another book that has recipes that have been researched and they know that they are safe. You can also use the Blue Ball book, either one of those. They all are good sources. Just don't use anything off the internet or off of Pinterest, those things. It's best to use these books.
Now, the hot water bath that we put them in, did you tell us how long we have to cook that?
Okay, both the peaches and the salsa has to be processed for 25 minutes. It has to come to a boil, and then you can start the processing time for 25 minutes.
Okay, very good. Well, it looks like we'll be waiting for a little bit, so this might be a good time to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll show you what they look like.
Make a difficult choice an easy one with Cedar View Assisted Living's knowledgeable and caring staff. Your loved one will be professionally taken care of as they transition into their new community. With movies, holiday parties, planned exercises, and games, residents will have opportunities every day to enjoy their time at Cedar View. Multiple room styles are available, ensuring a just right fit for your loved one. Come see Cedar View Assisted Living for yourself next to Sternberg Museum. The care you need, the home you want.
Restaurants, gyms, salons, libraries, and more. Nex-Tech has over 100 free Wi-Fi hotspots to keep you connected.
Welcome back to Local Flavor. This is actually some salsa that we canned yesterday. It's not that we're still waiting for the others to finish, but we're going to talk a little bit about canning safety and how to know if it's safe to eat, because canning is all about getting rid of the bacteria, and there's ways it can fail.
Correct. As with anything, there can be failures. Sometimes you didn't catch a little crack on the jar, or maybe there was something on the edge. Maybe when you put you didn't get all the food off of the top. So sometimes there's reasons that the jar didn't seal. If you catch it right away after you get it out, you need to let your jars cool completely, and then you can test to see if it's sealed. You can look at it. If there's a dip in your jar, you're flat, then you know that's sealed. You can feel it. There's a little dip there. And you can hear it. You can use a spoon and tap it, and it has a higher ring than if this wasn't sealed. Also, you can hear it sometimes when you take it out of the canner and they go pop, 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 and so you know that they've sealed in.
So you want it depressed, so if this is bulging out, that's a sign that
it didn't seal.
Okay.
And so if that happens, then you can either put a new flat on, check your jar lids to edge to see if there's any little nicks there or any cracks. You may need to get a new jar. It needs to be done within 24 hours after you have processed it the first time.
It's safe to eat right away, though.
Right. You can go ahead and eat it, refrigerate it, and you can go ahead and eat that within your 24 hours after it's been processed. Now, if you have a jar just like this, and you see movement in here, like
a
it's
bug?
boiling,
Oh, really?
then it's like it's fermenting. So that means you probably need to throw it away. If you open it up, well, even if you don't open it up and you see mold, it probably means that it didn't seal and you need to throw it away. If you open it up and there's spurting liquid out, it's spoiled, you need to throw it away.
What if it tastes good still?
You don't want to taste it.
Don't taste
If
it.
you're suspicious that there could be a problem, get rid of it. It's not worth a stay in the hospital, and that's probably what would happen if you ate something. And
Yikes.
generally, if your jar is sealed, it probably something happened within the canning method. I have some people that say they boil water bath their green beans. Green beans are low acid food. It needs to be put in the pressure canner. So it probably will be full of botulism.
Ooh.
So you need to make sure you can it correctly. You have used the low acid food in high acid food for boiling water.
And where should we store this?
This needs to be stored in a cool, dark place. If you have sunlight, it's going to discolor it. And so you want to keep it cool. You don't want to have it hot. Don't store it in the trunk of your car. I had somebody said, well, I left my canning in my car. I took it from one place to the other and I forgot it and it was in the trunk of the car. I said, okay. No, you need to get rid of it because that probably...
That's a lot of work.
Yes,
down the tubes.
that is lots of work down
And
the
then we
tubes.
should eat it within a year, maybe?
Usually within a year.
Well, very good. That's probably why everyone has their canning stuff in the basement.
Right.
There's a lot of equipment to use, and the pans are big, and then you got to store this, and a lot of,
Right.
Grandma's was in the basement.
Right. Basements are a good place to store. They're usually cool and they're usually dark in places. So it's a good place.
Well, thank you very much for teaching us how to do it, and especially how to take care of it. And thank you for joining us for Local Flavor. We'll see you next time.